Kel-Tec P50 in 5.7x28. Let's check it out. Now, for many years, the 5.7x28 was pretty much relegated to the FN P90 and their 5.7 pistol, and there was not any real competition. But then all of a sudden, a lot of companies started coming out with the 5.7. Whether it was the Ruger 5.7, the PSA Rock, the Smith & Wesson 5.7. But also one that is probably the most unusual of the bunch, maybe excluding the P90, is the Kel-Tec P50. This is a very unorthodox looking handgun. And it is a handgun. They do make a carbine version of this, but it has a 9.5-inch barrel, so it's double the barrel length of your FN 5.7. And so it gives it a lot more velocity. Yet, while it's big and kind of clunky looking, it actually handles like a pistol. You can shoot this with two hands. It comes with a strap. We're going to take a look at that, which really makes this a very viable self-defense option. But one of the big pluses for this firearm is that it uses the FN P90 mags, which are the horizontal mags that fit inside the receiver. And it is P90 magazine compatible. And so you have a lot of choices with this gun. I'll just be honest, I've been really excited about 5.7, done a lot of reviews lately. Saw the Kel-Tec. Honestly, if I was at a store, I would not buy this. I was looking at it, I was like, what? Well, Nate at Guns on Deals, he had one, and I said, let me get one of those to check out. And I just wanted to kind of bring it into the 5.7 family of reviews that we're doing. But I'll tell you guys, this is a great little firearm. So I want to thank Nate over at Guns on Deals for providing the P50 for this review. And guys, really one of the biggest drawbacks for the 5.7 has been ammo cost. At one point it was $50 a box, that's $1 a round. But we're seeing it coming down more and more. And it's really great to see a lot of different firearm companies coming out with the 5.7x28. It's really been driving the price down, which makes this more affordable to shoot, especially with a 50-round magazine. All right, the Kel-Tec P50. Guys, again, this is just a very strange looking firearm, and it's awkward. I mean, it's big, it's bulky looking, and it just has some weird features to it. Something that you would see out of, Alien or something on Halo. And, the thing is science fiction a lot of times moves technology. It kind of like gives us ideas, it's dreaming, and people move into it. But this is just something that's very unusual. But I'll tell you, again, once I took this to the range, I really changed a lot of my opinions about this gun. First off, it looks like it's super heavy. I mean, it just looks like a big, ungainly, awkward piece. When you take it to the range, though, it shoots really well. It weighs about 3 pounds. We'll look at the exact weight in a minute, but just putting it in that two-hand grip, I mean, you can fire it. The one thing about this pistol, though, that really kind of changes the game, other than a brace, and of course we're going through that right now, but is this sling, and this is included. The sling makes this a very viable self-defense option because it has low recoil. And it's a very low recoil, and yet it's got a really effective round coming out the end. Super fast and really easy to manage. And that's one of the big pluses for this gun. Also with the magazine, uses the P90 magazines, It's a 50 round capacity. So first thing let's do is let's go ahead and check to make sure the gun's unloaded. It's a little bit different to check. So we're going to pull down on this lever in the back and we're going to just open up. And then we just pull out our magazine. Now this is compatible with any of your FN P90 magazines. The rounds load just like this all the way down the side. And then it flips them and then it allows it to fire. Proven design with the P90, and also a NATO round, and this is a NATO type magazine. Now this is a Pro Mag. And Pro Mags typically I'm not very fond of. I've had some issues with Pro Mags in the past. This one functioned very well. Now I'm going to show you, this is a mag loaded with just a few rounds, but you can see how the round comes out the front, and then here they're just loaded just side by side all the way down. Very unusual setup. And two, you're able to see those rounds as they're all the way out the side. And so this is more of a translucent mag. The P90 mags are more smoke type mags. I've got some coming. But I was really very pleased with the way these function. We have an AR style charging handle. It has the little hook, just like we do on the AR. And you just pull it back and you can see that the gun is unloaded. The rounds eject from the top and they shoot out. And you know, it's really an unusual type style. Here we have a trough, and then we have Picatinny rail all down the front. One of the things about this is they have a small sight here at the back, a little notch, and then here at the front there's a small notch. This is kind of similar to an AR-15 type front sight, and you can actually use an AR-15 tool to adjust this. But this really would be great with an optic. And we used one of the Burris fast fires, and it seemed to function really well. Again, with the magazine out, it really looks skeletonized. Now this is a piece of sheet metal at the top, and it has holes, keep the heat down, holes all the way around. There's not M-LOK accessories or anything, but there is a Picatinny rail here at the front. So you could put lights or lasers. You could possibly put an angled foregrip. With this being a pistol, you can't put a vertical foregrip. Then we have this area right here. And this actually, from what I'm just looking at it, is made just to grip right here. And because this gun is really the weight, once you pick it up, this is not a bad choice to shoot this, even though I typically held it a little bit out front. But this gives you just a little bit of curve here, and it just gives it a distinct look. It has the standard Kel-Tec grip, and this is all polymer at the bottom. And Kel-Tec uses these large squares, but they're fairly effective. One thing you will notice right up front, and this is the way it is with all Kel-Tecs, is we have the receivers screwed together. You have bolts that go all the way through, and you'll find them all throughout the receiver. And guys, I've had a lot of Kel-Tecs, shot a lot of Kel-Tecs, and just never had any problems with these. Nothing coming loose. Everything's kind of just locked in solid. Right here at the back is your lever. You pull it down, so it's really kind of intuitive. You have your hand here. When you want to reload, just bring this down and the top pops open. And then here you've got your hammer, and of course it is hammer fired. But it's a very simple type design. Now putting your magazine back in, what I like to do is just go ahead and set it in the top. But you can do it in the bottom and then bring it and just snap it closed. The safety just goes up, down, just like your standard AR-15 kind of direction, down for fire. And it is ambidextrous. Now there are QD points right here, and there's a QD point in the grip. And this is where your sling is attached, and it does come with the QD sockets, so you can just put this right on, right out of the box. And it was one of the things that I thought I might have to purchase, but I was glad to see it. So here on the grip, just pop in your QD point, and then here, pop it in. And now you have the sling attached. With this over your shoulder, it gives it a lot of stability. And again, with the light recoil, it just makes it a really cool option. The one thing I did notice is when I put it on this side over my shoulder, over my back, if I was pulling the charging handle, if I wasn't careful, I would get it hung up in the sling. If I had it on the other shoulder, I didn't. But what I love about having it on this side is that I can rest my cheek on this, and it almost acts, gives you some stability like a stock. And so that to me was just a huge plus. And guys, honestly, this sling is very well made, and it is fully adjustable, and you can set it up how you want to. The barrel is 9.6 inches and it is threaded by 1/2 by 28 threads. And so you can put a suppressor on there or a muzzle device if you want. There's no interchangeability with the grip. There's no magazine in the grip. And it's all just right here. Now with this fully loaded, it does add a little bit of extra weight, but honestly, you can't really tell the difference. It's just a very cool firearm. Now I did have, again, the burst fast fire on here. We were using it. The mount for it, for some reason, just gave me some fits, so I ended up having to take it off. In fact, it got stuck, and I had to grind it off with my Dremel. But it does fit very well, and that has nothing to do with the Kel-Tec itself. And so here we have this Picatinny rail. I mean, you can put a red dot wherever you want to, or you could even put a scope. This thing is very accurate. Even with the mag inserted, there is no last round bolt hold open. It just opens up. But honestly, it's a very smooth action. There's not a lot of pull to it. And so, I don't know, guys. I'll tell you, again, I was just getting it just to go through it as a 5.7. But once we took it out to the range, I love it. I just do. I love it. And this does come in a carbine version as well with a 16-inch barrel. And it has a kind of an unusual wire stock that comes off the back. There were some braces made that did fit here at the back. But again, until this ATF mess gets handled, you know, that's not really going to be an option. Give you a look under the hood. Once we remove the magazine and all the action, the barrel, the recoil springs, everything, the bolt are all in the top. And here you can see these buffers that hold right here, and this just gives you a little bit of cushioning when this is racking back and forth. It's a very simple design, and that's one of the things I love about this gun, because it is very simple, easy to mess with, easy to just figure out, and very intuitive. Now we have 5.57 here in the middle, 5.56 or 223 here on the left, and then 9mm on the right. We have a 115 grain bullet up to 147 grain. Here we have a 40 grain bullet, and they do make some smaller loads as well. And then we have the 5.56, which the U.S. military uses a 62 grain bullet, going at 3,150 feet per second, 23 to 2,500 feet per second, and about 1,200 feet per second. And so they were really looking to replace the 9mm, but they used the 5.7 as an intermediate cartridge. In fact, it's used by over 40 countries for their military. So it's definitely one of those intermediate cartridges that has a really good ballistic coefficient. And yet it doesn't really replace the 9mm for close up, and yet it doesn't replace the 5.56 for longer ranges. Ammo prices have been a real bane for the 5.7x28. We were seeing it $1 a round earlier this year. We're now seeing it down to about 56 cents per round, and that was the lowest I found it. So that's not bad. But with the 9mm, we're seeing it for good quality ammunition about 20 cents a round, and then for the 223 or 5.56 is about 36 cents a round. So we still have a higher cost, but it's coming down. Now let's check the trigger pull action. We have a little bit of take up and it hits a wall. And then we have a nice break. It's not real crisp, but it's definitely very smooth. When it comes to reset, right there. Trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 4 pounds, 4.6 ounces. 3 pounds, 13.2 ounces. So around 4 pounds. Kel-Tec P50. 3 pounds, 8.4 ounces. All right, we got the P90 type magazines. They're very unique. One of the big things about these mags is they load straight in, but then they turn around and they line up against the magazine. So the first one, you just want to bring it, push it in, and it slides right in. On the second one, there's 2 small lips right here, and you want to get on the right side lip, and you just want to push down, and it actually rotates the other round in. And we really appreciate Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, and great to see them coming out with the 5.7. And so that's just another example of a company bringing 5.7 to market. And here you can see they're starting to line up all the way across, and it just spins that around. Guys, the resurgence of 5.7 has gotten me looking even more, and one of the things about the Kel-Tec P50 is I've not really had a big interest in it. It just looked like a huge blaster, something from from Star Wars, Han Solo, or Halo, but it has some balance to it, which really surprised me. It's fairly lightweight. Having a sling attached to it really adds to the stability and makes this a viable self-defense option. Using the P90 magazines, the FN P90s, this gives you a lot of round capacity. And then just open it up, drop in your magazine, close it down, and you're good to go. And of course that AR-15 style charging handle in the back brings that in. But the sling, which is included, is a great addition. And you can shoot it with just two hands, but the sling really adds and really makes this right. Fast fire 4 from Burris on here. But I'll tell you guys, with the sling and the setup and you push out, I mean, that's great. I mean, I love it. And I was kind of concerned because I know that with the brace rulings coming in and everything, changing things, this makes it really doable. Takes it from a range toy into an actual viable self-defense option. Truck gun, you can put this, and that 5.7 round, man, that thing is screaming. Guys, I'm telling you, this definitely is different, and Kel-Tec excels in being different, but I'm really liking this. If the ammo would come down, I'd love it. What do you think?
A lot better than I was expecting. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's just that with that sling and with the weight, but it makes it natural to push out. It's a lot better, even without a brace or anything. I mean, it shoots really well.
Yeah.
Low recoil. Just a big gun.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for disassembly. First thing we're going to do is unlock our action, and then we're going to remove our magazine, and then we're going to check to make sure that the chamber is empty. Now this is a break open action, and it is hinged here, and so again we just go ahead and look at the top because this is where all the takedown areas are. Right here are 2 tabs, and these are connected with these recoil springs. According to the manual, it says to take a bullet, put it in here. You can take a punch, or you can just grab these 2 levers and pull back, and then get down behind it and push the bolt up, and then the whole mechanism just comes right out. Now, charging handle is just loosely fit right back here. Here's the barrel, 9.6 inches. Looks to be black nitrided, but very simple action. And then here with the recoil springs, you have your guide here, and then you have 2 rods. We have our springs, and then we have these buffers. It's just going to make it just a little bit soft shooting. And then we have the delay right here. But guys, I'm telling you, this thing is very simple. It sits in the action like this, but beefy, but yet very simple. Here we have the hammer, very simple action. I mean, this whole thing is very simple. Now for assembly, let's just return our charging handle. Then take your bolt and your recoil springs, and there are 2 nubs at the front. So just get them set. And then we're going to pull down on our recoil springs. Make sure that the action is seated, and then we're going to bring this back. And when you do bring your springs back, make sure that this is set in this position. And it can ride up a little bit. Your action will not close. So just make sure it's in this configuration. Next, we're going to take our magazine. Now we can put it up top, we can put it at the bottom. And we just load it in, snap it closed, pull back on the charging handle, and we're good to go. Now it comes in a nice case with Kel-Tec logo. We have 4 different locking points. It's encased in foam, the pistol, extra magazines, you have your sling, we have our lock, owner's manual, we have Kel-Tec stickers, and the bag for the Pro Mag. I don't keep a lot of my boxes, but this is one I think that fits this gun just perfectly. The retail price on the Kel-Tec website is $795. I did hear that it was actually quite a bit more than that originally, right under $1,000. At Guns on Deals, it's $749, and I believe they have a green version as well, and I believe it's $731. So getting it down to about $750. So what are some pros and cons? First off, the magazine capacity for the P50. Using the P90 magazines, 50 round capacity, and it's interchangeable with those magazines. That's a big plus for this gun. The recoil is very mild. That makes it nice. This pistol is definitely very unusual looking. It's large, it's ungainly, and yet with the soft recoil, it shoots very well. And you can shoot it with two hands, or you can come in and bring the sling. Threaded barrel, we've got a long Picatinny rail to put sights in different optics, and of course you have your front rail for lights and lasers. It's a very simple design, and that's one of the big things about it. At the range, we had no malfunctions whatsoever. Very easy to work on. The manual of arms is very intuitive, and so it's really surprising once you take this out, because really when I looked at it, I was like, what in the world? When I went to the range, I was like, I really like this gun. So it's great, again, to see 5.7 out there, especially for those who are recoil sensitive, but also who want a very capable round. I mean, NATO chose this round for good reasons. And so it just gives us more for our toolbox, more options. And guys, again, we live in the golden age of firearms. Price, a little bit heavy, but not really compared to the FN series firearms. And now that we're seeing some of these other companies bringing out 5.7, it's bringing the price down of the guns and the ammunition. If you're looking for P90 magazines, they're running about $44, and you know, that's not a bad price for 50 rounds. The Pro Mags, I didn't get a price on, but again, guys, they really function well. So I have no issue with these Pro Mags. So overall, just a very unusual gun, and yet it's really coming into its own with 5.7. So guys, it's different. No matter what caliber you're looking at, the P50 is definitely one of those unusual type firearms. Something to me that you'd see in Halo, or you would see in an Alien movie. I mean, it's just different. But it's very functional. And with that grip and the size of this, again, two-handed, throw a strap on it, it gives you a lot more stability. You've got really good accuracy, out to 100 yards plus. In fact, this rifle will get out to 300 yards, which gives it a big advantage over 9mm. And of course, it has that longer barrel, but there's just a lot of cool things about this firearm. Would this be my first choice for 5.7? It's according to the application. This is definitely something that you could really engage a number of different threats and still have a very capable round. It's not going to be your concealed carry option, but if you put that strap on it and an overcoat, you could probably do it. And again, a big thank you to Nate over at Guns on Deals. They provide a lot of guns for us and allows us to bring all kind of different things to you guys. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. $20 a round. But the most unusual 5.7 out there, maybe bar the P. I'll tell you, taking it to the range, it really changed my mind. Now I'm probably going to say all that crap at the beginning. Oh yeah, I caught that baby. This camera's expensive.